Hello again all, Kat Rambo here, your medicine woman. And today we're preparing for ceremony. So one of the things I love to do for a ceremony preparation is a steam bath. It's traditional in many areas around the world. If you've ever been to, a Turkish or Russian sauna or a Mexican temazcal or an African version of a steam hut. The idea is you want to get hot, you want to get steamy, and you want to get a lot of good herbs in there. And it's help you purge a lot of thoughts, emotions, ideas, and also toxins from your body, from your skin. So it leaves you feeling radiant inside and out. Super good for your complexion, which I love that too. So I've been asked a lot for how to make it and the recipes, so that's what I'm going to do here for you today. So first you want to start with, I don't know if you can see it, a pot of boiling water. Oh, there it is. So there are two ways to do steam. One is inside of a temazcal, a structure designated specifically for this purpose. Hot rocks are in the middle. They get moved from a fire into the center of the lodge, dome-shaped lodge, and then you pour hot herb water over top of those rocks, and it steams up the facility, the entire structure. It can be really small, it can be a big structure. The at-home version is to do it with a pot. You can put a towel over your head like a tent, and anyone whose grandmother told them how to cure sinus issues has seen this before. With the herbs inside the pot, and it fumigates your face and your neck and your chest and your sinuses and your eyeballs and all of it while you're in there. And you stay in there as long or as little as you want. You'll know when you're done. You want it to be hot, but you obviously don't want to burn yourself. And make sure you turn off the stove when you put the towel over your head. We also have a gas stove here, but even if you have an electric range, you want to make sure that you don't light your towel on fire. That has and does happen. But so as long as you're safe and remember all your appropriate safety precautions when dealing with a hot stove, let's get started. So my first favorite ingredients, and you want to start with things that are sticky, like have twigs or branches, or tough leaves. You want to put those in first while the water's boiling. I usually don't like to leave it on a super roll. We'll put it down to like a bubble, high simmer sort of situation. Let's take a look. Hello. Gentle boil. Right. And then after that, you want to let that cook for a little while, and then you start adding, just a few minutes really, 8, 10 max. And then you want to start adding 10 more tender leaves, like eucalyptus, for example. And then at the very end, you want to add florals. So in a steam, it's important to make sure that the plants that you're putting in there have a synergy. A steam can be as simple as hot water on the stove. It can also be as complicated as a 15-ingredient stew, right? So today we have a few things that we're going to put in here, and I thought I would actually go over some of the herbalism principles of each of these and why we're choosing them. So my first and favorite is always rosemary. It's been considered sacred around the world for a long time. A familiar-looking plant. Make sure you wash your plants gently. The most important element of anything you're doing in any shamanism or really any element of your life is intention. So make sure you feel good. You feel clean. Maybe you can, your thoughts are gentle and your heart is open. Maybe you can do a smudge cleansing for yourself if you like. We can do another video on that if you want. And then when you start your process, you want to do everything with full intention. So when you clip your plants, you want to thank them. Thank them and tell them that their medicine heals you and what you're going to do with them. And give gratitude to the earth for these gifts that we've been given. And make sure you're clipping plants that you should be clipping. A sick plant needs its leaves. So be mindful of the plant too as you're taking from it to help yourself. And with rosemaries especially, you want to massage them gently because it helps the oils come out. So you want to massage them gently and pray and say thank you. Thank you for cleansing us. Thank you for helping us heal. Thank you for improving our complexion. Thank you for our spirit here. And astringents are really good for spiritual practices also, because they do the same thing they do to your skin and to your intestines, which is to help draw out and to help draw out toxins, sick ideas, thoughts, emotions. So you want to massage them gently to break the oils out and give them a lot of gratitude and a lot of love. And then you'll put them in the pot. And you stir them around. There's not a whole lot to look at now. So some other things that we're adding that are in the more hardy plant part persuasion is a pre-mixed blend here that has some flower parts, but it also has a lot of camphor wood. I like to use camphor because it really opens up the sinuses. So does rosemary. Rosemary is also really good for your immune system, and so it helps with breakouts, right, which is good. It also helps with sinuses. Rosemary is good for so many things. It's definitely one of my favorite herbs. It is so much more than just a sacred plant. It is also amazing medicine, and it tastes phenomenal and smells great too, which is always a bonus. Camphor also smells amazing. If you've ever smelled the little white powders, or I don't know if it's a paste or whatever they make out of it now, like little cubes, it's always considered sacred. The plant looks kind of like this, and this is a stem of the camphor plant. So I like to smash these with a knife before I add them into the pot. I have some here already smashed in advance, so I'm going to add this. This also contains a little eucalyptus, some feverfew, and some other plant parts, but because of the camphor, which is the element in here that I love the most, this is what it looks like smashed open. See, it's got these rings inside. Isn't it fascinating? And it smells very minty, so it's very also astringent. If you use Vicks Vapor Rub, you're probably familiar with the smell of camphor. So that's the element in this that I like the most in this blend. So I'm going to put that in first with the hardier plant parts, because I want that camphor to get out into the steam and into the water. So that goes in there. Remember, always gratitude and prayer for your intention, for the plant itself, for the gift that it's giving you. And it's always going to enrich not just your experience, but give you a whole process, a whole prayer. Making your steam is a prayer also. So give it the love, give it your prayers, and watch it do its magic for you. Let's take a look now. So we're starting to change color a little bit. See all those beautiful colors and plant parts in there? There's some bougainvillea flowers. Some people have a reaction to bougainvillea. Make sure you know if you're one of those people before you put it in there. It's wonderful for your heart opening. It's good for your skin. It's really healing for like skin lesions, but that's the flower part. The plant does also, the stems contain a latex, which some find really aggravating. Some people, when they get scratched, will get a little scratch. They have big thorns. Some people, when they get scratched, will get a big welt because they have a reaction to the toxin that's in there. So just know your body, know your audience. And I know that the person for whom I'm preparing this steam loves bougainvillea and never has a reaction to them. Even when he trims them, he doesn't seem to have any issue with them. So that's why I get to add them into this. Next, I have a plant that I love that, be aware, is also illegal in a few states in the United States, because if you smoke enough of it, it can be slightly psychotropic. This is called Damiana. So one of my favorites to give, especially for women, because it makes you feel good, and it's good for your body, and it's good for your hormones. It can make you feel a little bit aroused. It makes you feel nice. It's also really good for the visionary state because of its slightly psychotropic nature. Damiana can provide intense amplification of visions in a ceremony meditation setting. So I like to add that in there also because it makes you feel good when you're going into something that's about letting go of a lot and forgiveness work. Something that makes you feel good in your body and yourself really helps with that process. There's no reason to suffer to heal, right? So if we can heal while also feeling good, that amplifies your process. It helps you with that self-love that really forgiveness empowers. So we're going to add a little bit of that. Thank you, Damiana, for your power to give us beautiful visions and feel so good. I think it's illegal in Louisiana and a couple other states, but it's legal mostly everywhere else. You can smoke it. Some of these herbs you can consume per oral, like for example rosemary. Obviously, we are mostly familiar with eating that on our chicken. Damiana you can drink as a tea. I wish you could smell that. Camphor I wouldn't normally recommend ingesting. That's really strong and really hard on the body. This one is something we all love as an aromatic, but I also really wouldn't consider eating unless you're koala. It is eucalyptus. So eucalyptus I like to use fresh as well. Here's a cute little leaf for you to see. It's great and powerful dried. Now that these sticks and other hardier parts are starting to cook down a little bit, I'm going to start adding leaves like the eucalyptus. I'm not going to turn the pot down just yet because the bubble's already kind of reducing itself with the plants that being introduced. But when it starts to look a little bit more aggressive, I will reduce it. I wish you could smell this. So the eucalyptus I'm going to add because it is a little bit more hardy, but there are some other leaves that I'm going to add, like bay, for example. Bay is a wonderful cleanser. I like to recommend crushing them in your hand to release their oils. It makes them a lot more aromatic and gives you a chance to be in gratitude. Bay is really good for that. Bay actually used to be burnt as incense for the oracle at Delphi. They would go into a trance and the bay would help them be a clear channel for messages from the gods. And today we can still use bay, as it is used in many traditions, to cleanse the spirit and the body. It's also really good in soup. What else do we have here? Okay, so we have some florals. We're going to put the lid on this, okay, first. Let's take a look before we check out. That looks so good. It smells amazing. We're going to put the lid on this because whenever you're making tea and whenever you're making steams, whenever you're making anything that's got plants in it, you want to put a lid on it because as it releases all those wonderful phytochemicals, the part that makes them smell so good, all those little volatiles that are so nutritious and so healthy for us, so helpful for us. You want to put the lid on so it traps them inside. So instead of them leaving in the steam yet, we want to put the lid on so that they can hit the lid and then go back in the pot. So I'll be right back. Here are some of my favorite florals. Of course, lavender, a plant no one can seem to go without these days. This is what the flowers look like just dried. The first one I showed you this thick, that's what came off of a plant nearby. And rose. Look how beautiful this is. So plants, what they do physically tends to also be what they do emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So rose is very nourishing, right, and very calming for the skin. A lot of concoctions these days, even from the pharma world, are made with rose for skin, for complexion, rose tonics, etc. Rose for the soul and for the heart is also really comforting, very loving, very nourishing. There's a reason we give roses, as an extension of love, a demonstration of affection. The plant gives us that gift and helps us find that in ourselves. So when I'm doing a steam like this and an experience like this ceremony, which helps our clients open themselves up to releasing a lot of negative stories and experiences in the past and move into a new version of themselves, I want my client to be relaxed and to feel nourished and loved, and the rose can really help with that. As it's inhaled, it goes into your system, and then also the smell of it is just so wonderful, and it's really good for your skin, which I always appreciate as bonus points. So as far as florals, some people like to add chamomile. I usually don't. But sometimes if I find that a particular group is very wired up, then I might put chamomile because it's very relaxing, right? Chamomile helps you take a deep breath and let it all go. Lavender does the same thing, but lavender is also strong medicine, so gentle but so strong. It's also astringent, so sometimes you may want to add something that's not quite as astringent. I love rose. Be mindful of rose, though. Rose can be really overpowering really fast. It's actually really strong, even though it is so gentle as well. So the florals, you want to make sure that unless you want a full face of bouquet of flowers, that you want to make sure that you add them slowly and add them at the very end. Florals are very delicate. You don't want them to be rolling in a boil. It smells like the eucalyptus is ready. That's how you're going to know when it's time. So we're going to add the florals now. Ooh. So let's turn the heat down to a low simmer. Thank you, Rosemary, for the gifts of your healing powers. Rosemary for your, lavender for your skin is really nourishing and really calming, right? Lavender is also antimicrobial and antibiotic and helps kill germs and reduce the risk of infection. It's good for your lung health, actually. There are some herbs in here that are really good for lung health. One of my favorites to add is lobelia, lobelia inflata is awesome for lung health. It's traditionally in North America was smoked to help with asthma and bronchitis and for people quitting smoking tobacco. So that's always a favorite around here for those who are trying to quit the tobacco habit, is to smoke the lobelia instead. It's also a powerful herb in ceremony because it's a purgative, it's a cleanser. So in the pot, when you inhale the steam of it, it can actually help you with your lung health. It opens up your bronchioles and helps you purge whatever's stuck in there. So especially at this time in our history where we need to be really extra conscious of our lung health, lobelia is a great additive into this brew. Lavender also really opens up your lungs because it's astringent. Rosemary will do the same thing. And what rosemary does for the skin, it also does for the spirit. It helps cleanse, it helps you feel a little bit lighter, it helps reduce the risk of negative energy. So we're going to add a little bit of this dried lavender as well. This one is so nice. Not all lavenders are created equal, that's for sure. This one is wonderful. I get all of my herbs either locally sourced, I grow them in my garden, or for things that I want to be of extra medicinal value, I like to get them from someplace where I know that they're grown sustainably and supporting local communities, but also they come with chemical testing reports, so I can see, this is a combination of ancient wisdom and modern science, right? So I can see what chemicals I'm looking for in the plant to make sure it's as medicinal as possible. Let's add our rose. This is always my last ingredient is rose. Rosemary, I do keep doing that. Lavender is a little bit more hardy, but rose is really delicate. And about chamomile, you know, the same thing for tea as it does for your skin, as it does for your spirit, helps you calm and relax. But if someone's super allergic to ragweed, they might also be slightly allergic to chamomile because they are related. Let's say hi to these rose petals. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you for your love. So you can either stir those in or you can let them float on top. You've got to see this. How pretty is that? So that's the basic method for making a steam for your skin, for your lung health, for your spiritual well-being. If you have any questions or you want any other recipes, there are so many permutations of possibilities available in making your own concoctions. Make sure that what you're blending is good to be blending together. Make sure it's good for you. If you want, I can post some recipes for different types of steams for different purposes down on the bottom. Also, your steam can last you a couple of days, so you can put it on your stove, make it for yourself. The next day, come back, add your florals again. Start with the real low simmer and add your florals again. And then when you're done with it, you can actually dump it in your bath and you can bathe in it. So make sure whatever you're putting in there is gentle, good for your skin and good for your body, and good for your heart. And I'm very much looking forward to getting in here with this one. Like I said, the best thing to do with this is to put a towel over your head, make a tent, turn the stove off, right? And inhale. And if you want it to be hotter, you want more steam, which is great, then you want to either stir it with your spoon, or you can blow out into the pot and it will release more steam as the liquid is stirred up by your breath. When you inhale the steam, the best way to do it is with full intention, just like everything else. So you want to take super deep inhale in through your nose, in through your eyeballs, in through your mouth, whatever makes you feel good, and exhale everything and feel the herbs doing their work in your body. Let them draw everything into them and let them help you exhale everything that's keeping you feeling tense or stuck or blocked or whatever, or ill, right? So use this as an awesome medicine to treat yourself. It's an easy and generally speaking pretty safe way to help your body, help your mind, help your spirit, and of course your complexion. If you have any more questions, please let me know, and I'll be very happy to answer them. You know I read your comments, so leave them below, hit subscribe, you know, all the YouTube stuff. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.